Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Corporate Email Under Attack, the Changing Face of Mail Threats and Defenses. So imagine a typical case in today's corporate world. A finance manager receives an email asking the manager to review and approve a certain document. The email contains a link to a trusted service. Everything about this email feels normal because, well, the manager receives these types of emails and requests all the time. The manager goes ahead, clicks on the link, and boom, a few moments later, the email credentials are compromised. This leads to internal phishing attempts, business email compromise attempts, and basically the entire corporate infrastructure can get compromised. Unfortunately, incidents like this today happen all the time. Why? Because, well, it's pretty easy for cyber criminals to use online communications as door to access the entire corporate infrastructure. They can use sheer volume, combine it with social engineering tactics. They can also use or exploit trusted infrastructure. And on top of that, they utilize artificial intelligence and automation tools. So today, during the webinar, we'll have a look at the 2025 threat landscape, see and highlight particular attacks that have been happening in 2025 and partially in 2026. And we'll share some practical tools that we can offer and you can have at your disposal to actually fight these types of threats and prevent the incidents that relate to online communications from happening in the first place. To discuss all that, I have two special guests. First, Anna, Senior Spam Analyst at Email Threat Protection Group at Kaspersky, and Alexander, Senior Product Manager at Kaspersky. How are you guys?
Not bad, everything good on my end, and happy customers and big updates and releases in the pipeline.
That's great to hear, Alexander. And also, it's great to see you in the studio, given that you twisted your leg just recently. So thank you so much for the sacrifice. So let's start by reviewing the 2025 threat landscape. Here at Kaspersky, we publish multiple statistics and research dedicated to all types of attacks. And let me first highlight a recent report that here at Kaspersky we just published recently, The Anatomy of a Cyber World. So according to that report, 15% of high-severity incidents detected by Kaspersky managed detection and response were based on social engineering. So that relates to online communication. Also, another 15% of major attack techniques observed by MDR were phishing and initial access. And another segment of the report that caught my eye was the breakdown of reasons for requesting incident response. You can see it on the slide. As you can see, there are a variety of reasons from data leakage to unauthorized access, suspicious email message. Basically, most of the reasons you are seeing now on the slides relate to online communications one way or another. So, Anna, the team that you're working in Email Threat Protection Group, you have been putting together a big report called Spam and Phishing 2025, the annual report that you guys prepare every year. And within that report, well, it's entirely dedicated to online communications. Recently, you released the newest 2025 edition. What are the biggest takeaways in numbers from that report that you can share with our viewers?
Yes, Sergey, we have recently published our spam report, and our listeners can find and read this report in our secure list, or links will be in comments. And yes, the average share of spam and global email traffic was almost 45%. This is the numbers from our report. And our Kaspersky Mail antivirus blocked more than 145 million of malicious email attachments.
That's impressive.
Yes, Alexander, I fully agree. Pretty impressive numbers. But in terms of threat landscape, let's see what has changed, what have been the highlights of 2025, Anna.
Yes, so let's take a look at the most current and interesting legends in email threats landscape for the previous year. For example, this is a new type of scam mailings that you can see on the screen that we encountered last year. It were messages that were sent on behalf of well-known brands under the pretext of looking for a partner, a vendor, or a supplier for a new project. So such mailings quickly became popular. For example, in December 2025 alone, our decisions blocked over 80,000 such messages. So this specific scam scheme took some time as it occurred in several stages. So a target company received an invite from a representative of a major global brand to register as a potential supplier and get a chance to become a partner. If a victim responded to an offer, fraudsters sent another message containing several forged documents and asked to fill them out and sign. After all of these formalities, which inspired a false sense of security, the targeted company was instructed to pay a deposit, which would be fully refunded, as fraudsters claimed, when the partnership was officially established. Another new theme of a mail scam that we noticed last year were messages from fake estate agencies that reminded their tenants that a payment deadline for a leased property had expired and demanded to settle the issue as soon as possible. So fake estate agencies also claimed that banking details had changed. So it was possible to pay off the debt only after requesting current data by writing a response message to a return email address which was specified in the text or in a reply to header which didn't match with the sender address. Thus, the requested banking details would belong to fraudsters. And another new topic that this time occurred in phishing messages were notices about intellectual property rights infringement. Such messages were sent on behalf of legal representatives of major brands, and depending on their field or of activity, the legend was different. How exactly intellectual property rights had been violated. So, for instance, if the brand was from music industry, the legend was that the recipient illegally had used music in a post on his social network page from brand's catalog without authorization. So the fraudster suggested to follow a phishing link to allegedly get acquainted with the details of the claim and try to appeal it. Otherwise, the recipient was threatened with legal consequence.
Anna, thank you so much for all those details. They are very useful to take note of. When reviewing the 2025 Spam and Phishing report, one common trend that caught my eye was how often attackers exploit legitimate services like Google. And well, if you think about it, that makes perfect sense because we all use those popular services and it's easy to suspect that any harm can come from them, especially where you are using them like all the time. So Anna, can you unpack this for us? How does the exploitation of trusted services look in real mailboxes?
So in the last year, we indeed observed a disturbing increase in diversity of legitimate platforms and services that were exploited by fraudsters to deliver their spam content, email threats to recipients. This method is beneficial for spammers as in terms of technical metadata, such messages are absolutely faultless. And especially variable the ways of Google services leveraging. For instance, we observed active exploitation of Google Calendar. Spammers created an event, inserted their scam text with links or phone numbers in the description, and sent an invitation to the target. The themes of spam or email threats could be absolutely various. Usually it were phishing notifications about automatically debited funds for a subscription, for a subscription to a service or even purchased cryptocurrency. The service was also used for sending commercial offers regarding product inquiries that prompted recipients to move the conversation to a messaging app to discuss potential collaboration. And also spammers applied a similar tactic, sending messages via Google Classroom. So in addition to the mentioned topics in spam from Google Calendar, spammers could also advertise their SEO optimization services. And also Google Forms was a really popular tool for sending spam. Fraudsters created a survey with an anti-spam title and placed scam content directly in the description. Then in the form settings, spammers chose the option that after filling out their questionnaire, a user must leave their email address. And attackers also enabled the option to send respondents a message containing their answers. Thus, the attacker themselves answered their own questionnaire and entered targeted email addresses, which received real notifications about successfully completed survey from the service. As these mailings originated from Google Mail servers, they appeared authentic to most spam filters. And also Google Group Service was incredibly often used by spammers last year and continues to be popular. So scammers create a group in the service, add targeted email addresses as members, and broadcast spam through the service. This scheme has unpleasant consequences for its victims, because even if a security solution has blocked the initial spam message, a user receives many automated replies from other addresses on the member list. And another way of sending spam messages via Google we encountered at the end of 2025. Such messages with verification codes, as you see on the screen, are sent by the service when a user tries to create a new account using an existing email address. So the fraudsters inserted a short text with a fraudulent link into the first and last name field. In the example on the screen, the scam content is translated as personal link. And after that, as an existing email address, they entered email address of a victim. So as a result, they triggered legitimate system notifications, but the messages were indeed email threats.
Anna, so we've covered a lot of incidents regarding Google, but I'm sure there are a lot of other incidents that relate to other popular platforms, maybe OpenAI or some other hot platforms that are very popular nowadays. Let's talk about them.
Yes, Sergey, spammers leverage not only Google services, but also other platforms to spread email threats. For instance, we indeed observed messages sent via the OpenAI platform, into which spammers had managed to insert their scam content. So this occurs during the account registration process on the OpenAI platform, where users are invited to create an organization in order to have an opportunity to generate an API key. So in place of organization name, fraudsters added their content. And then the platform offers to specify email addresses of users' team as organization members. But instead of that, attackers wrote email addresses of their victims. As a result, unsuspecting members of the organization received messages with offers of intimate acquaintances and links to scam resources, or notifications about subscription after renewal with a fraudulent phone number to call for a refund.
Anna, I must say that while all those details and cases are very useful to know, they all feel slightly disturbing, because in many cases that you have shown us earlier today, well, all of these cases feel completely normal, and sometimes it's very hard to suspect that something is off. So Alexander, let us talk with you for a bit. When attackers exploit legitimate services and use trusted workflows, how can we counter that using our solution here at Kaspersky?
Yes, Sergey, thank you for this question. And definitely you can see on the slide how our email protection works. And if you look at this slide, you can see our key technologies, all the main steps we take during the scanning process. First, we break every email down into several parts, like who it's from, what's in the body of the message, what attachments and links are inside. Then we do a series of checks. You can see like them on the slide with different technologies. For instance, we scan attachments with advanced anti-malware engine. We check the sender identity with SPF DKIM DMARC I would say to catch spoofing. We scan every link to block phishing. We use cloud-based reputation. And also, if we still aren't sure about the sample, about the file, attachment, or email, we send the file for dynamic analysis in our sandbox. And the key point here is that real protection is not like one filter, right? But many layers working together. This is especially important now, just as Anna showed us in her examples with attackers who are using trusted and popular services to send spam and scam emails. It's very, very important to have like multi-layer protection for email security. So no matter how attackers tries to get through our security tools, even using YouTube or Google Calendar or OpenAI or other cloud platforms, we cover the whole email with this multi-layer protection solution. That's why actually our approach works well in in practice, I would say.
Alexander, this all sounds really impressive, but I'm sure some of our viewers and listeners would like to know some extra details about the technologies under the hood that allow us to accomplish everything you said. Could you share those details?
Yes, Sergey, sure. And let me show you how we can react to new threats, even when attackers use like trusted services just unshowed. If you look at the slide, you will see Mobius. The name might sound a bit unusual, right? But here is what it really means. Mobius is our real-time anti-spam database updater. Basically, it helps us deliver critical anti-spam updates to all our mail security products very, very quickly. That means when new spam campaigns start using YouTube, Google, OpenAI, or any other popular services, we can block them almost instantly, right? So with Mobius, our users get the very, very latest protection all the time. That's simple as that. Another technology I'd like to mention is content design reconstruction. This technology goes one step further in keeping users safe. If you look at the slide, you can see the screenshot of CDR settings in our interface. It's easy to set up and it runs automatically. So why it's important with the threats Anna showed earlier? A lot of modern attacks come inside ordinary looking attachments like Word, Excel, PDF files with hidden macros, scripts, and suspicious URLs. So sometimes these dangerous parts don't get caught by like signature-based antivirus, especially if attackers use new ways, new tricks, or they try to hide their code in the files. That's where CDR helps. It removes any potentially dangerous content from attachments and instantly rebuilds a safe version of a file. This gives us extra layer of protection even against tricky attacks that might slip through our static engines. And the best part is that CDR works together with our antivirus, anti-spam, and sandbox engines to keep mail both safe and fast.
Sounds solid. I just wanted to take a brief moment to remind our viewers that you can leave any of your questions in the comment section below. Feel free to do so, and we'll answer them during the stream. Right, so we've covered just one segment of the threat landscape, but unfortunately there are more to talk about. So the next topic I wanted to discuss with you, Anna and Alexander, is QR code phishing. First, however, I was reading about the different cases and attacks that happened throughout 2025, and I noticed a series of articles published by Microsoft in their blog related to tax season and tax day. Basically, the tax day happens every year on April 15th, and of course, given the day that and given the amount of people are involved, basically everyone is involved in tax day. Every year, a series of phishing and malware campaigns are launched. So let me go ahead and share a couple of details that have been shared by Microsoft regarding the campaigns related to the tax season. So in one instance, the emails used subject 2025 employee tax docs, pretty usual subject, the one that you would expect to receive during the tax season. And also these emails contained an attachment named 2025 underscore employee underscore W2 docs. W2 is, of course, a tax form. So the attachment had content that mentioned various tax-related terms and, of course, a QR code pointed to a phishing page. In another instance, the campaign actually featured QR code living inside the PDF. The email, of course, as usual, looked harmless in first place, but the scam sent victims straight to the credential theft. This is, of course, a perfect example of why QR code phishing is harmless and still needs some attention. Anna, you and your team has also described similar cases related to QR code phishing in 2025 reports. Let's unpack them to our viewers and share your findings with our viewers.
Yeah, sure. So the use of QR codes for spreading phishing via email is a real trend, and it continues to be a trend. Themes of such messages can be completely different, from account expiration notifications to notices on behalf of HR team, for example, about pending documents. So, for example, the sample on the screen is allegedly sent by an e-signature service and notifies a recipient about a confirmed payment for some sales order. So, more detailed information about the remittance is provided in the attached PDF file. Fraudsters expect that a recipient who have actually made no order will scan the QR code in order to figure out details about this remittance. And upon scanning the QR code and bypassing a CAPTCHA, a victim is redirected to a phishing page mimicking a Microsoft authentication form. And in the previous year, we first encountered QR codes in extortion messages, not in phishing. So it's a scam scheme that may have different contexts, but the common is that spammers usually threaten the recipient with unpleasant consequence if the victim doesn't transfer a sum of money to a crypto wallet. So previously, scammers attempted to obfuscate a wallet address in order to bypass mail filters. But in such mailings, scammers added QR codes containing cryptocurrency wallet addresses instead.
Anna, Alexander, seems to me that analyzing QR codes is quite a challenge, especially if they are stylized. They can also come in different colors, which makes it even harder for traditional security solutions to actually analyze them and detect any threats coming from them. And basically, not every security solution on the market can do that, right, Alexander? But our security solution, Kaspersky Security for Mail server, actually is capable of doing that. Let's share the details with our viewers.
Exactly, Sergey. And by the way, phishing emails with QR code, as Anna said, is a big trend now. Attackers, they use these QR codes to trick users and bypass regular security checks, and they hope that someone actually will scan the code and open the fake website. The good news, as Sergey, as you said, that our email security can find and block such bad or phishing QR codes. And if you look at the right side of the slide, you will see that we check all different types of QR codes, like black and white, codes with different angles, even blurry ones or code with logos. It also works with QR codes hidden inside PDF or images. So this is a strong way to stop these new phishing tricks and keeps our users safe even before anyone has a chance to scan this dangerous code with a mobile phone. And our customers, they are really happy to have this new, I would say, level of protections against these new modern threats.
Sounds perfect. I'm sure this feature really and these capabilities really help customers in the field today. With QR codes aside, another important segment that I feel needs addressing is malware hidden in encrypted archives or password-protected archives. Why this needs addressing? Well, sometimes cybercriminals use password-protected archives to hide malware and deliver that straight to the workstations because they feel like an archive can protect them from being detected by a traditional security solution. And as far as I know, you and your team also have a lot of examples in regards to that type of threats. Curious to know how it looks like in the field.
So in the recent years, attackers have actually begun distributing malware in password-protected archives attached to mails more often. This is their attempt to bypass security solutions. And according to statistics KSN, blocked messages containing archives and a password mentioned in the text amount to almost 6% of the entire number of blocked messages containing any archives. And messages containing archives and a password mentioned in the text amount to over 8% of the entire number of messages containing any archive. So fraudsters obviously need to provide recipients with a password for a malicious archive, and they can specify it in different parts of messages. So the most often case is writing a password in the body of a message, as you can see on the screen. So also attackers can use various synonyms of the word password, for instance, access code or key, that are understandable to humans and may be unknown to defense solutions. So sometimes a password can be written in a subject of a message or in a name of an attached file, either an encrypted archive itself or another document. So in this sample, password is in the text, in the subject, and in the file name. And a password for an archive could also be inside a file, and commonly it could be within a PDF or a TXT file. And moreover, in the last year, we encountered a malicious mailing with an attachment consisted of an unprotected archive containing a secondary password-protected archive and a file with a password for it. So a malicious file was disguised as a legal document within the inner archive. So the most sophisticated case is sending a password in the following message. Actually, not only archives could be password protected. This is the example when a PDF file is encrypted. Sasha, please tell us whether our product can handle such challenges.
Yes, but before Alexandra, let me just jump in with a quick note, because I feel like, based what Anna just said, business faces an operational problem when deciding how to deal with password-protected archives, because on one hand, a company can basically allow all password-protected archives to be sent with the emails, but then there is a risk of any malicious payloads slipping through. Another solution would be to block all the archives entirely, but then you would disrupt the typical business processes. But Alexander, from what I know, we do have a workaround on how to actually deal with this issue. Tell us more.
I would say that it's not a workaround, it's a real solution which is implemented in our product actually. And by the way, this is a big problem for companies, how to deal with password protected archives with such examples Anna showed us. With our solution, customers don't have to choose between taking the risk you mentioned or blocking all the password protected archives. We can safely scan almost any password protected archives, and if you can see on the slide, there are three main options we offer in our solution. First, as Anna showed, the product tries any passwords it finds in the email body, in the email itself. For example, if someone writes the key or the password is 12345 in the message body, our product will try it automatically. The second option is when our product uses a built-in dictionary of popular passwords and tries them automatically. For example, it could be password like QWERTY or simple ones like 11111 or ABC 123 and so on and so forth. And the third option is pretty impressive. It works if those methods don't work. User can enter the password themselves through a secure web portal. It lets us scan almost any encrypted attachment before it reaches the inbox. So let me quickly show you how this third option works in practice. So when a password protected archives arrives, we don't send it directly to the user mailbox. Instead, our user received an email, but without these attachments, without encrypted attachments. We see the link and instruction saying something like click the link and enter the password to access your password protected archives. So the user just follows the link, opens this web portal, just like you see on the slide. Here he see the list of emails with password protected archives. They choose which emails they want to decrypt, they want to unlock, type in the password and click apply. That's it. The system takes care of the rest and sends these attachments for the analysis. So, and while the archives is being checked, is being analyzed in our product, we use both engines, static engines and more advanced tools. So attachments are also sent to our sandbox for dynamic analysis. This is very, very important for for advanced threats, for new type of malware where static engines might not be enough. In the sandbox, we check if the files behavior in the safe environment, in the isolated environment. We actually simulate the real user actions to see if everything suspicious happens. And after this analysis, the sandbox generates a detailed report. You can see this on the slide and sends back the final verdict to email security solution. If everything is safe, the user gets the original file. So as you can imagine, even password protected archives are fully checked, are fully analyzed and secure. And we do love this approach because it's easy for end users, it's safe for the company, and no IT team needed. Just a password and a click, that's it. Sergey, how do you feel about this approach?
I feel this is a pretty cool approach, and jokes aside, this is really good to know because we did point out in the beginning that most businesses have to choose between disrupting business processes and basically actually increasing the risk of any malicious payloads being delivered to them. But with the approach you showed us, the businesses don't really have to choose. They can secure their operational integrity and still feel that they are well protected.
Exactly.
Now, There's another also big segment within the threat landscape we haven't just discussed just yet, which is spoofing and domain impersonation. But first, I feel like we should share a definition of spoofing because not of our viewers perhaps are familiar with what spoofing actually is.
Okay, let me explain. So email spoofing is when someone sends you an email that looks like it's from a trusted person or a company, like your boss or a friend, but really it's from a criminal. If you look at the slide, you will see two examples. On the left is a real legitimate email. On the right is a spoofed email. At first glance, they look exactly the same. The sender name, the email address look correct, right? But if you look closer, you can see that there is a difference. The fake email is actually sent from different address hidden inside. So when it looks like from a trusted person, it's actually coming from an attacker address. And attackers do this to trick you, maybe to click a link or send money or give up some sensitive information. So in short, spoofing is just pretending to be someone else in email to make someone trust the message and fall for a scam.
Anna, so let's follow that up with a couple of real examples of spoofing and domain impersonation of what you have encountered while researching and observing this threat landscape.
Sure, Sergey. For example, this is a sample in which email spoofing technique was used in order to make fake emails seem legitimate. So this is a notification about required account update, which is allegedly sent by the Netflix support team. So if a recipient is thorough enough, he may take a look at message headers, but there he will find out that the legitimate domain netflix.com is even in the received headers. So however, in fact, this message contains a phishing link. So, are there any evidences of spoofing? We also need to consider the IP address beside the domain and the received headers. So, according to Whois service, the IP address belongs to Microsoft. If we check DNS records of the domain netflix.com, specifically an SPF TXT record, we won't find Microsoft among mail servers of third-party services that are authorized to send messages on behalf of this particular domain. So a message from a service that is not mentioned in the record will be blocked by mail defense solutions, as it won't pass mail sender authentication.
Alexander, what do we have in our product to systematically address this?
It's a really good question, Sergey. Actually, we use several technologies to protect our users. And of course, we have full anti-phishing engine. But when it comes to blocking spoofing, one of the most important tools is sender authentication, which means we check if sender really is who they say they are. This is absolutely key for email security, and if you look at the right side of the slide, you'll see our sender authentication tool, or like engine or model with action builder. With this, you can set rules for emails based on checks of SPF the mark, and you can allow or block emails depending on the results of each check or their combination. As Anna showed with her examples, a cyber criminal can easily pretend to be your business partner, or like Microsoft or whatever you said, Netflix, exactly. That's why every company needs a flexible tool to check who is actually sending this email, and then to choose what to do with such messages. And even if you don't have much, by the way, experience with such like sender authentication mechanism, don't worry. You can use predefined settings. Just look at the screenshot in the middle of the slide. There are recommended settings from our experts, and you can use them and then easily adjust them for your needs. There is also very important mechanism, sender domain alignment, that's shown on the screenshot at the bottom left of the slide. This helps detect even more fake messages. For example, if a partner uses only SPF records but not the KIM. And you can set your own rules, so good emails get through, but dangerous emails are blocked. Anna, do you have any examples where sender domain alignment, this mechanism, could really help?
Yeah, I've prepared such example. So this sample is an unsolicited message which wouldn't pass sender domain alignment because its domain in the from MIME header, the sky something.live, and the same domain in the TKIM header conflict with the domain salesforce.com in the return path header. So the return path address here matches sender's SMTP address, as it's intended for telling SMTP servers where they should send non-delivery notifications about bounced emails. So in addition to sender domain alignment, we also have protection from reply to alignment, which protects users from BC attacks, among other things. So this message is an example of a BC attack, which wouldn't pass from reply to alignment, as its domain and from header doesn't match the domain of mail free hosting service in reply to header. So now I would like to show some statistics of blocked messages by this protection. So sender domain alignment blocked more than 20,000 messages from December 2025 to February 2026. And due to from reply to alignment, we blocked more than 1,600 messages for the same period.
Pretty impressive.
Yes, Alexander, so during the webinar so far, we've covered a lot of details regarding our product, but I think it's time we actually shared some basic information for perhaps some of our viewers who would like to try out our product or are generally interested in it. I know that our product features some really useful integrations, has different deployment scenarios. Let's share all those details regarding that.
That's no problem, Sergey. Let me show you where all these technologies we discussed, where they live together. Right here on the slide, you can see our product, Kaspersky Security for Mail Server. If you see in the middle of the slide, we can see that the product acts as a shield between the internet and our users, and all emails, spam, phishing, or anything suspicious are filtered out before reaching the mailbox. Licensing is very simple. It's per mailbox, and the great thing is that one license covers 3 different deployment scenarios. First, Kaspersky Secure Mail Gateway. This sits in your network and filters email before they get your mail server. The second application is Kaspersky Security for Microsoft Exchange servers for companies running Microsoft Exchange on-prem with deep integration and advanced mail filtering. And the third option is Kaspersky Security for Microsoft Office 365. This is our software as a service option to protect cloud mailboxes in Microsoft 365 using direct, I would say, native API integration. And the best part here is that we don't have to choose only one solution. With one single license, we can use 1, 2, or all 3 applications depending on our setup. Like we use everything on-prem, cloud, or hybrid environment. This is real flexibility, and it's perfect for companies with mixed environments. And for enterprise companies, our product connects with the rest of Kaspersky ecosystem. For instance, with Kata Sandbox we discussed today.
Kita is Kaspersky anti-target attack.
Exactly, our product sends suspicious emails to advanced sandboxing for dynamic analysis, or with threat intelligence portal, very important part of any security solution, where we get extra details on each URL or attachment scanned through with our solution. So in short, our solution gives us a full multi-layered protection and allows us to integrate easily with other Kaspersky tools you already used, I hope.
Sounds great. I think we've been chatting with everyone for quite some time. There are probably a lot of other topics we can talk about, but given the time limit, I think we have to probably conclude this session. If you have any other questions for Anna, Alexander, myself, or for anyone within the Kaspersky team, just drop them down in the comment section below and we'll get back to you. Do check out the new Spam and Phishing 2025 report. You can now see the QR code somewhere on the screen. Also check out the Anatomy of Cyber World report, another new report that came out recently. And if you want to know more about the product beyond asking us directly, you can check out the web product page. You can also find the link for that in the description or as well as on the slides you're seeing right now. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day and speak soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.